Hey everyone, my name is Hannah with Spoken Gospel. For the last 1,600 years, Christians around the world remember the last days of Jesus' life during Holy Week. Today is Maundy Thursday. Maundy comes from a Latin word that means covenant. Maundy Thursday remembers the day Jesus shared a final meal with his disciples and gave them a new covenant. Jesus tells his disciples to make preparations to celebrate Passover. Passover was a Jewish feast that reenacted how God rescued his people out of slavery in Egypt. God promised that if his people sacrificed a lamb, painted its blood above and around their doors, and then ate the slaughtered lamb with flatbread, he would free them. God made good on this covenant when after the meal an angel came and killed the firstborn son of Pharaoh and freed God's people from Egyptian power to become their own kingdom. But while celebrating this meal, Jesus redirects the meaning of the bread and wine they're consuming. They don't just look back to a past act of salvation, but forward to a new one. Jesus took the bread and, using today's verse, Luke 22:19-20, said, "This is my body, given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." In the same way, after the supper, he took the cup, saying, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for you." God's covenant on the first Passover promised freedom and a kingdom on the other side of a sacrificed lamb and a dead firstborn. And at the same meal, Jesus makes a new covenant and promises by the sacrificed body and blood of God's firstborn, God's people will be freed once again. Maundy Thursday is good news because Jesus announces his broken body and spilled blood will lead to freedom and a kingdom. Just as Israel was freed from slavery by the blood of a lamb, we are freed from slavery to this world's powers, temptations, and sins by Jesus' blood. So I pray that on this Maundy Thursday, you will accept Jesus' body and blood as a new covenant, for it is God's promise to free you and bring you into his kingdom.
Thursday of Holy Week, we remember a meal and a covenant, a feast called Passover, and a new promise from our King on top of it. The Passover meal celebrated Israel's freedom from Egypt. They were saved by the blood of a lamb, and now remember that salvation every time they eat it. But Jesus said the meal now represents his body and blood. He will be the lamb that brings their freedom. This new meal also brought a new agreement. For when Israel was first freed from Egypt, they received a covenant that they would be God's people and God would be their king. Which is why on Holy Thursday, we remember that Jesus brings a new promise, that through his death, we will be his and we will be free, and in his resurrection, he will be our king.